You can see a slight pullback in the current market at the moment, and that was expected if you use the early Bitcoin warning signal. I will show you what that is, and you can use that going forward. We got a whole lot to cover. Should be a relatively quick stream, though, because the update should be quick. Not much has happened fundamentally, and there's not too much breaking news, so I'm just going to give you the accurate price levels to look at. Without further ado, let's get straight into it. And I wanted to start off with what could be market moving events going into this week. And you have Wu Blockchain that says on December 1st, Fed Chairman Powell will deliver a speech on the U.S. economic outlook and job market. On December the 2nd, the United States will announce the unemployment rate for November. And remember, they want that to go down to show that inflation is coming down as well and that they don't have to hike as much. And then he says that the probability of a 50 basis point rate hike on December the 14th is currently at 75%. So yes, the rate hikes are coming down, but they're still raising. They're still raising rates, which is not necessarily a good thing. And you can use the economic calendar over here as well. Looking at Wednesday, that is when Powell discusses the economic outlook, and that's at 1:30 US time. So I think that's the first most important one that we need to focus on. 1:30 p.m. US time on Wednesday. And what's interesting is typically you see the big major market moves tend to happen on Wednesdays and Thursdays, which is ironic since this is when we have the major economic data coming out. And if it's anything to go by, it says here that James shows that U.S. consumers just won't give up. In 3 to 6 months, they will feel the pain. Until then, all-time high in stocks ahead, because Black Friday sales were at a record high with $9 billion, which is just unbelievable when you consider the economic environment. Yes, yet people still find the money to break records on Black Friday deals. So let's see how that pans out. I'm sure that will be addressed in the speech as well. Okay, price-wise, you do have a new weekly range. Essentially, you have the range low and the range high. Range low is at 15,000. Let's round it up to 500. And then you're looking at about 16,800 on the range high. So that is the weekly chart. Nothing's changed over here. Pressure remains to the downside with price stuck below all important moving averages. And soon this 200 moving average will begin to turn over. This is the purple one over here. And that really is, for me, something quite worrisome in the long term. I do hope that price can regather this before that does start to turn over. So always keep an eye on the 200. Volatility wise, you can expect that volatility to come into the market this week already. If you use this chart below, it's showing that the volatility is in the market. Remember, we were stuck below that orange risk line over here for such a long period of time, and the expansion phase started to happen. I told you that if price is trending towards the downside, when that expansion happens, then you can expect that the move is going to, of course, expand to the downside. That volatility will play out with downside momentum. And currently, as it stands, we remain in a downtrend. And therefore, as long as this continues towards the upside, the lower band over here, this is our volatility indicator. That means that that move should continue to play out to the downside. And I did a really good show on Thursday. I didn't do a show on Friday. On Thursday, I did a fantastic show. If you guys did miss it, go back and have a watch. I basically covered the levels where Bitcoin could potentially bottom and how long that could take. And I do believe that this volatility indicator over here will most likely be the final spike that we have. So once this finishes playing out, wherever that ends, I do believe that will be the final one, which will lead to our major bottom, long-term, possibly even macro bottom on Bitcoin. And just a quick overview, this is essentially the chart. I went all the way back from the beginning of time of Bitcoin, and I said that anywhere within this region, I would expect some sort of a bottom to form. With that being said, I read a lot of the comments because I posted this on Twitter as well. I made a whole tweet thread. If you do want the detailed analysis, it is also there. You can open up the charts and look at them for yourself. But essentially what I said is that price could come as low as $9,000. I mean, give or take, just under $9,000 would be my worst case scenario. But with that being said, I want to make this clear. This could also be the bottom. Technically speaking, that yellow little box that I have, that could end up being the bottom, something like this. You could have an accumulation phase over here, and maybe price doesn't make it down to the yellow, and then we start to accumulate back upwards, which is why I covered very specific strategies which give you exposure already into the market. There will be no getting wrecked once you clear this level over here. You can see the clear downtrend, right? So you can see clear lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. Once price gets back above over here, you have additional capital which can be deployed. You make another higher low over there, and that's it. You're back in the market now. You're back in the market. So for those who think that I don't have a plan for that, of course I have a plan for that. It's all outlined in the video that I covered on Thursday. So I just wanted to make that clear. Tying in with what McKenna says over here, and I tend to agree with some of these views, which is one of the reasons I didn't read this tweet before, but it's kind of in line with my thinking, which is why I wanted to make this video to say now's not really the time to be looking to short Bitcoin down to zero. More, it's the time to be looking to find long-term investment opportunities. And McKenna says the current views on the market. Bitcoin is the macro correlation index for crypto, looking for strength or catalyst with alt ETH pairs, watching for low volatility in Bitcoin to execute on the above. Alts have less hodlers to capitulate and have more short side exposure. I think what he means by short side exposure there is not that you short the alts, but that if you do get good entries in the short term, you're going to get much better returns. And then he says, going into the new year, we're into the final periods of the tightening cycle. We also face the impact of a recession from the above monetary policy. However, does this matter for low or mid cap alts? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think the weight of macro on decision making is dying. And he says the deleveraging across crypto is 100% already occurred. I may disagree with this part. I wouldn't say 100%. There's no certainties, but I do think mostly. And then he says insolvencies of major players is a brutal part of the cycle, but many players have been washed out. The forest is in ashes. But post DCG, we have the opportunity to once again flourish. And then this is the important part that I like what he said over here. He says, for those of you saying that we have seen nothing yet, take a step back and reevaluate your bias. Biases become self-reinforced with price, and it's difficult to shake off pre-programmed behavior. This above is the primary reason why boom or bust cycles happen. And that is the reason why boom or bust cycles happen. So you go through phases within the market cycle, and all that you need to do as a trader or an investor, which is of course why you watch this channel for more education, all you need to be able to do is to identify when you are nearing that bottoming process and when things begin to change and what that may look like, and have a plan. If you can just you don't need to pinpoint the exact wick low to the freaking dollar of where the market bottoms. There's no need to do that. I mean, it's all great and fun trying to do that, but overall, you're going to make much more money when you just wait for a new uptrend to get established. And currently, the level to clear is pretty much over here, 21,500, let's call it. You get above 21,500, hold above there, and then make another higher low on the weekly chart, and things begin to reverse. And for those of you, you've been watching the channel for a very, very long time. Remember when everybody laughed at me when I was saying that from up here? And then I said, well, those levels just keep changing. Just be patient. Just be patient. And we just kept going level to level to level, lower and lower and lower. And that is what patience will do for you. Patience is a superpower when it comes to trading. Okay, so moving on, Willy Woo also identified some interesting charts over here, and he says here's the third in my series of macro bottom charts. The MVRV ratio is deep inside of the value zone. Under this signal, we were in already under the signal we were already bottoming until the latest FTX white swan debacle brought us back into the buy zone. And then you can see over here, historically, you had it in 2020. Have a look at that little pink band. He's marked it out with the verticals. It did mark the lows. Again, you had the 2018, which marked the bottom over there. And then in 2015, the same thing. So this band is coming into the same place. It was created by David Puel and Mustap Murad, and it tracks the ratio between Bitcoin's market cap versus the capital that's invested into the network. Now, I want to say something very important over here. On-chain metrics will literally get you wrecked. It will get you wrecked. However, when price lines up with some of these things, I do pay attention, but I definitely would not make my ultimate trading decisions off this, because if you were listening to on-chain metrics, it was telling you that Bitcoin was on track to $450,000 per coin by December of 2021, and we didn't even get close to that. So take it with a pinch of salt, but nevertheless, I do find it interesting. I think David Puel and Mustap Murad, these two accounts over here are highly intelligent people, and probably the best of the best on-chain analysts that are out there. So what would that bottoming process look like? I have shown you this as well. It's also in the tweet that I put up. Ideal bottoming scenario would be this. Pretty much you have the three ranges, right? So you spend time within the top range over here. You guys know it. I've shown you this before. Range 1, then you had range 2, and now we just broken into range 3, which I have outlined using the orange horizontal lines. And this would be the ideal scenario, is still having some sort of a capitulation event. I don't believe that we've seen ultimate capitulation yet, but this could be the capitulation event going all the way down into that yellow trend line, which marks pretty much the start of the bull run in 2017. It connects the bottom of 2018 as well as the COVID lows, where we did wick through, but we've managed to close back above. I would love to see something similar to that, or at the very, very least, a test of this mid-range. As a range trader, this is exactly how you would trade it. I want to just show you again, in line with the previous chart that I showed you. Where do you get bullish? You get bullish if you start to clear above here, which I said call it 21,500 to be safe. So price would need to recapture this level over here. That would activate the potential for the next higher lows of bullish trade. Not only that, but that would be a deviation back into the range. So deviate like that back into this range over here, and then you re-enter back into range 2. I hope that makes sense, and I'm not talking circles around you. But also, as a range trader, what you'd be looking at now is this is your range that you're looking within. You're looking to target at least towards mid-range. So range high, mid-range, and then potentially even range low. I don't want to hold my breath on range low. I think that would do some serious damage to the crypto market. So how could this happen? Well, the DEXI is coming into its 200-day moving average. You can see there's a little bit of a reaction already that's been happening around this level. I want to see if it manages to bounce from here. Nevertheless, I must be honest with you, it does look to me, at least on the lower time frames, short to mid-term time frame on the DEXI, that it does seem to, dare I say it, have looked like it's topped. I want to, the DEXI can be complicated because it's measured against a whole basket of other currencies. So I don't want to speak too soon on the DEXI. I'm just taking it day by day, and it does look like it should bounce from this region, at least for another lower high. So keep an eye on that. Now, S&P 500, that one is coming into its, well, let's go into the futures one over here. That one is coming straight into that level, also the 200-day moving average, and it looks like it may have already rejected from that. Whether we get one more spike up into that zone or not, I'm not so sure. But you have to ask yourself, since Bitcoin has been performing so poorly in the last couple of weeks, and the stock market is coming directly into resistance, the DEXI is coming into support, what happens if this does come down hard over here? What does that mean for crypto? So a very, very important thing to consider. And then the next important thing that I want to mention is the VIX, which is the volatility index, is coming into this horizontal box over here. And you can see anytime pretty much in the prior year that we've hit that level, there has been a reaction off of that horizontal. So it's been downtrending for such a long time now, since pretty much the 11th of October. So that is pretty much almost a month and a half of downtrend. And eventually there will be some sort of a reaction off of this zone. So volatility index, the VIX for the S&P 500 bouncing, the S&P 500 coming into resistance, and the dollar bouncing are three things that make me still cautious on Bitcoin, and that Bitcoin could experience still its final flush to the downside. Now, daily chart, again, price stuck below all the important moving averages. You can see we're consolidating where the new swing low took place. So we had previous support over here in the 18K region, made an impulsive move to the downside, swing low over here, and then we are now consolidating within that region. Now, I do open the possibility, and I'm going to show you on the low time frame, for still a potential bounce scenario. So if you just take a simple horizontal box over here, and you look at it like this, right? What's going to have happened is that this move happened, came all the way down, and then pretty much some people would have got their shorts here. The next would have got their shorts in off of that bounce. And then everybody's just been shorting all the way down from there. So what that means is there's going to be a lot of stop losses that are over there. And I don't know if there's enough momentum for this to just fall through the floor and finish the ultimate move, which we've been looking at 10 to 12K. So what may potentially happen is one more sweep of the lows and then actually a big spike to the upside, which will take out all of these stops. And then now you have pretty much a consolidation within a big range like that. So if that happened, I would look to load up on shorts and send it back to the downside. I'm not looking to long up to those levels. I don't see the risk being worthwhile. And the reason being is this. Let's just quickly turn off the indicators so I can show you, and then grab a triangle. So the reason why is this: if you take a look at this, there is these moves have a high probability of playing out, and there is a little bit of a descending triangle which is forming over here. So that is why I don't really see the value in trying to long up to here. It's more that just from a risk to reward perspective, if it did sweep through here and come back up and play the range play, this is a high probability trade. Now you can now you can short with your stop above that level, looking for the ultimate breakdown, which would still be a bear flag, right? So you have the pole, bear flag, and then the final breakdown to that side. And there was a tweet from Cheds that I read on the weekend. I should have pulled it up here. I'm not going to look for it now. But essentially what he said, he wrote a while back, and I was thinking along exactly the same lines, is that sometimes you have patterns that play out. They can reform into different shapes, right? So remember, we had a falling wedge pattern. A symmetrical triangle over here. We had this kind of move over here where price came straight down and we played around within this area, right? Then sometimes those patterns, let's just take that back. Sometimes those patterns can turn. Sorry guys, I'm failing over here on my trading view. Okay, it can morph and change into a descending triangle. So it first started off as a symmetrical triangle, then it goes into a descending triangle, and then it can potentially even form into here you go, like that, a range. And you have to move with the ebbs and flow of the market. There's nothing that's set in stone or guaranteed when it comes to trading. So that was the first thing that I identified, was that symmetrical triangle, which had a high probability of breaking down. Then price ended up coming down like this. So remember, it was like this, like this, like this, and that was essentially a symmetrical triangle. Then it came down, tested the range low, bounced up, and then it started to form a descending triangle. And currently, that's the pattern that fits best. So what you could do, if you wanted, you could technically short from here with your stop loss above the mid-range over here, because if price gets above the mid-range, then we know now it's in a range, and now this descending triangle is no longer valid. So that's one way that you can look at things over there. And otherwise, you just wait for higher levels, or you just wait to buy spot on the breakdown. If you want to short it, wait for higher levels. That's the best probability. Short all the way down. Or if you don't want to do anything, you just sit and you wait to buy the lower levels on the breakdown of the triangle. So I hope that helps. Again, if it is a range over here, that would look like this: a breakout to the upside, and the triangle gets invalidated, would take you directly into that 200 EMA on the 4-hour chart, which in downtrends tend to act as areas of resistance. So keep an eye on that. Now, the little secret signal that I was talking about was this. Unfortunately, I made the thumbnail. I have to make my thumbnails the day before. And this is already played out, but this is what it looked like. You had aggregated CVD, so, which is cumulative volume delta spot. So people that are just buying the actual underlying asset on the exchange, that has been downtrending, meaning that they've been selling. Then you had aggregate CVD futures, which is stable coin margin. So those are people that are trading leverage using USDC or USDT. And then below that, you had the futures coin margin contracts. Those are people that use their actual altcoins or Bitcoin as collateral. Those were both trending up. So you have a big divergence over here. You have price going up as well. I always tend to believe the spot price action, which has been trending down, which shows that any moves up have been artificial moves that are driven by leverage traders. And leverage traders eventually are going to take profit. When they take profit, everything's going to go back in line with the spot. So you can use that. It's an interesting tool. This is now live. You can see it had already played out over there. And now, again, they're starting to reload. But that led to the down move, which was around, I think, a $500 move to the downside. So just a neat tool that you can use. I identified it when it was over here. I was looking to short into this trend line over there. Didn't get my perfect entry. I'll be honest with you, I missed the short, but that was the short over here. Looks like this. It would have taken you, given you a 3% move, which was $500 down on Bitcoin. So guys, that brings me to the end. Again, our quick summary over here. What could happen? We're still within the range. If price gets back above over here, above mid-range, then you can get back to range high. Range high is coming in at around 18,000. Pretty much that's the ultimate short zone. And then you still have the potential of this being a big range that's actually a bear flag and can play out to the downside. So the narrative for a long opportunity, if you are looking to long, is to wipe these stops out. Everybody that's been shorting throughout this region could potentially get stopped out with one sweep to the upside. So do not be surprised if you see that. Lastly, I think that brings us to the end. Please give this video a like. Here's the video over here. I'm going all in. If you haven't seen it, go and watch that. That's where I give my long-term thoughts on what's going on from a timing perspective within the charts. Also, OKX have a couple of good things going on over here. Again, if you do click on the Google Forms over here, you can fill in your details. So if you firstly need to click the link to the NFTs, here it is. Get your Web3 wallet. Click on that link, sign up, and then fill in your user ID in this form. Just fill out this form over there, and they'll airdrop you an NFT if you're within the first 50 people to do so. And then also, those NFTs do go into a final pool where you can win a massive amount of prizes. Trading competition, there is $2 million that's up for grabs. If you do want to join my team, again, the link is also below. You'll need an OKX sign-up link, and then you can register for the team below. That's it from me, guys. I think that brings us to the end. Good to see you all again. I know I missed Friday, and I will see you all on the next video. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate you all. Give the video a like. Let me know your comments below. Hit the bell notification and subscribe to the channel. I will see you all on the next one. Cheers for now.